All right. Now, so what I wanted to do was start a new episode of the cooking show, Cooking with Rayne. And, well, it's not really Cooking with Rayne, it's actually called Either Way You Slice It. So today's episode is going to be teriyaki chicken pho. And for those of you who don't know what pho is, it is rice noodles cooked in a wad of rice. Wad of rice noodles looks like this. Now this one little brick is one serving, so that's one person, and you need to boil it for about a minute in boiling water. Now I'm going to remove the phone from the stand here, the camera rather, and flip it around so you can see. This is my pan. I'm sorry, I'll stabilize the camera here in a sec. And the pan itself is just a cup and a half, or, well, yeah, actually half a cup of soy sauce. Quarter cup, really. Quarter cup of soy sauce, and then a tablespoon of the garbanzo bean flour, and a tablespoon, tablespoon of salt, and then a tablespoon of cumin and turmeric. Or not cumin, but curry powder and cayenne pepper, and also turmeric. Now these things added to the mixture in concert is going to give me my sauce and the glaze in which I will use for the noodles. Now, so what I'm going to do here is remove the heat a little bit on that guy, bring it down some, and that's my pot back there boiling for the noodles. So this is about the size of the chicken you're going to use. It's about between 1 and 2 ounces. And I would suggest probably using about that much for a single serving of a plate of pho. Now I'm going to turn the camera back around here. And what to do from this point forward is definitely up to you, especially if you're going to want to use this menagerie of food or ingredients at that level. So I really want to try and get the camera at the best angle here because I don't have the best apparatus yet to make this a good production, but either way I'm going to try and do my best. So this in a sense is the chicken. It's going to go in the pan. So now once the chicken's in there, I'll return the camera back to the pan shot for you guys, and this will give you a good idea. So let's remove this and turn it around. Now the camera is focusing on the chicken now, so you can see that this chicken is finely chopped. I do have it between a 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch chopped here. These were chicken tenders, or chicken breast fillets rather, that were chopped up before I put them in the pan, so I don't have to deal with cutting or sizing them up between that time. So you can see that the sauce is already starting to thicken up here. So that means while the chicken cooks in this marinade, which is let's see, I'd say probably 3/4 soy sauce, and the other is, let's see, there's about 2 to 3 tablespoons of that, just in the sauce a little bit. And then I have curry powder, cumin, and turmeric in there also, and extra virgin olive oil. Now, with this in the back, you want to put that in there. Now, that, by meaning, I'm going to say, is the noodles. So the pho noodles look like this in their cluster. They're wound up nice and tight. Then you just drop them in. Now, it doesn't take much for these to cook, and you want it to be about halfway so the noodles can be flipped over inside the pot or pan while they're in the source of cooking. So it takes about probably a minute to a minute and a half in this boiling water to get them to where they're tender, and then you can throw them in the pan here to mix with the meat and the sauce. Now once they loosen up, that will be when I transfer them. So you can see here there's plenty of steam there, but what you see is that the noodles are slowly getting loose, and I'm trying to toss them around in the pan so that they can get loose enough for that purpose, for me to use them in this sauce. Use the heat of the saucepan down to about 3. That gets it for this to be added to. Now, if you want to thicken the sauce back up to prevent pan from burning like it's starting to in the middle there, is just give it a good stir around to reconstitute the sauces itself just around the pan on the inside of its interior. Now, this should be about the time the noodles are ready to be thrown into your pot. So noodles, flip them out of the water, and then add them to your frying pan. Now, this will also finish the noodle cooking down to the point where it's ready to be used in a dish of said proportions. So this is about 1 serving of the pho, using the hot chicken or teriyaki chicken in with the sugar and with the other sauces. So you mix that together generally like this, but you know, it's probably better if you use both hands, I suppose. Holding the pan and doing that would probably be better than what I'm doing here. But at either rate, this is going to be a very nice dish of pho. Now, the mixture itself doesn't have to cook much longer than that. So you want to leave it on at about probably a low heat. I would be turning it to about 1 or 2. And that should be the end of the heat there for that. So I'm going to make this pan. It's boiling water. If there's any noodles left in it, we'll see. There's a little bit. I think that's fine. We can sacrifice that and whatnot to the garbage disposal god. Okay, so in that regard, the pan is done, so we can put the lid back on that guy, throw him on the back, and that will leave this for the remainder of the dish. Now, what you do at this point is just kind of try and make this noodle wad separate. Now, I know it's going to be difficult, but what occurs here, hang on 1 second. I'm in the middle of a video, I don't know. So you want to try and separate these, or at least get them somewhat separated in the pan or in the pot. So that does tend to happen in a wad of noodles. You're going to have a lot of clinginess and stickiness with these noodles, particularly in the shape because of the consistency of the sauce you're going to use. Now, it's relatively done. Flipping this over so that the pan's heat itself does not overcook the noodles. You want them about a medium cook, so about, I'd say anywhere between 1 to 2 minutes in total, and that should be it. That's about done. So we're going to turn the heat off to the pan and let it cool for just a few minutes, and then I'm going to bowl it up. Now, the whole reason you want to use this kind of meal, per se, if you want to use this, it's a very quick one, and you can do it within a few moments and actually have a relatively quick and easy meal to cook. Especially if you're going to like make a quick lunch or whatever. This is a good one because it only takes a few minutes to prepare. Especially if you're going to use the minute ingredients that I've used today. So you can add anything you want to this. You could do rice wine. You could do teriyaki seasoning, and then the duck sauce is also a good one. And use pure cane sugar, powdered sugar. It really doesn't matter, but the best sugar to use is the non-refined version. So it'd be the pure sugar cane inside a plastic container. Not such a bad idea. Even stevia and the sugar in the raw is also a good one to use if you want to get away from the actual harmful effects of sugar. You can use a sugar-free version that still gets the sweetening done that you want in the teriyaki sauce that doesn't require a shit ton of sugar. So in that event, when you're finished with your flour, especially the garbanzo flour, this is right here, it's garbanzo beans, or chickpeas rather. It's good to go ahead and seal it up after it's been used. I use a clip, but some people use those bag sealers or whatever, the ones that heat up the plastic to melt it shut together, and that's a good one to use, but you have to cut the bag every time you use it. So it's up to you, whichever source or whichever fashion you choose to use it in. But this is, again, my second episode or first episode of the Either Way You Slice It show. And the reason I'm saying that we're going to continue this is because, well, I have a lot of different recipe ideas. And for some of the more interesting parts of the food, we can continue to go in an Asian direction, or we can go into a Latin direction. Either way, I'm going to leave the decisive nature of the cooking show up to you guys, whatever you want to see made. So I throw up a few of my favorite recipes so far. First one being the curry chicken salad, which is obviously one of my favorites. And that's with the homemade croutons. If you don't know what I'm talking about, check out the first episode, or at least the preview of it, the cooking show, Either Way You Slice It. Now, this is my bowl of pho. So I'm going to show you that back from the camera side. So this will be the end. Here. There we go. And let's flip it over. There you go. There's a bold version of the chicken, teriyaki chicken pho with curry and cumin and turmeric powder inside the seasoning sauce with a little bit of sugar in there, added pure cane sugar for sweetness. And that does give you the traditional Oriental pho. And that it looks pretty similar to the menu item itself. And in the comments below, I shall let you know how it tastes. Thanks again for coming to watch the second episode, or first full episode, of Either Way You Slice It with Rayne. I do appreciate it. You guys have a good day, and please hit that bell, like, and subscribe.